everybody. Welcome to episode 71 of REZOcast, now brought to you by Blue Mics and Headphones. This week we are missing Lego again. He's feeling a little under the weather. He's having a little trouble talking, which, for a podcast that we make him do all the talking, it was a good idea for him to, rest his voice. But I'm Hove. I'm here. We're joined this week by the usual Triton and Mana. No more Asian takeover. I did hear that part of the podcast last week.
Sad about it.
Yeah, sad about it.
So what's been up with you guys? How's things been? I missed a week. I feel like I haven't been here in so long.
Go ahead, Mana. I'm gonna let Mana go. I'm gonna let Mana go. Number two here.
I feed off of you guys. I'm always last.
Mana, tell me about Destiny.
Yeah, it seems like a TWAB came out and things are going to get updated. And I haven't touched it since still. So
all right, guys, that's been episode 71. We wrapped it up pretty good there. But I know, how's things been, man?
It's been going well, I'm still trying to catch up on all my single player games, just my backlog. That's all I'm trying to do right now, pretty much, is trying to catch up on all the games I've saved up. I just finished all of the major endings for Nier Automata. And it's such a great game. It's really freaking good. I suggest it. If you find it like on sale or something like that, that's why I got it for like $30. Well, technically Chavez got it for $30 and bought it for me. But it's amazing. It's an amazing single player experience. Monster Hunter, been slowly grinding that. It's pretty fun. It's a new. I've never played a old one, so this is all brand new.
Wait, an old what? I missed that. I'm sorry.
Fortnite or not Fortnite?
Monster Hunters.
Oh yeah,
I never played an old one before. This is brand new for me. Other than that, I have still yet to actually touch Destiny. So pretty appropriate for this podcast, right?
You're killing it. Absolutely killing it.
How about you, Triton?
I had a pretty good week. Still doing the Battlefront 2 grind. In fact, I know I think it was the last podcast that Hove and Lego were on. I laughed about constantly this point losing what I presume to be Destiny only subs. I got my first what I believe to be Star Wars sub this week because the guy had this little icon of a minifig of Darth Vader when he subscribed to me. So pretty happy about that. So I've been trying to grind, get to level 50 to get that platinum. I did play Destiny on the weekend, picking up the engrams. I'm really close to actually being 335 on my Hunter. I think it's the class item that's keeping me from that. So I actually went and did, when it was still Titan, did the Flashpoint, did my heroic strikes, did the call to arms, did the clan XP so that I can try to get that. Didn't get the class item, but did get some other cool things. Didn't get any more Masterworks weapons because I think the armor was Tuesday, but on the weekend, didn't get more Masterworks weapons, which was a little disappointing for me because I'm really trying to get enough cores. I think either to try to rival Ho's positive outlook that he's never mentioned on this podcast. So
it's a secret.
Trying to do that or another weapon. So I was able to do that. I did jump in a little bit earlier today to try to at least unlock Saladin, play one game of Iron Banner, kind of see what that was like, and then also pick up the clan engrams. I think we had the Crucible and the Trials engram I had left over from the I guess Trials would have been the weekend, and then I had someone must have played Crucible this week. So thanks whoever did that. So thanks to the two people who did that. Oh, it was Ho.
It's me and Lego.
You and Lego. So nice. It's been a pretty good week in Destiny 2, and I've enjoyed kind of my time back in this past weekend and also today. So looking forward to playing a lot more this week.
I used to count on Mana to get me the Trials engram every week, so I don't get that one anymore.
About that.
But I a little sad I missed last week. I was out of town. I didn't even have service, so I didn't get to watch it or come in and make fun of you guys. But what started as a trip to Detroit for the North American International Auto Show turned into Cleveland to Detroit to Windsor, Ontario, to London, Ontario, to Niagara Falls, to Buffalo. I think that's all the cities we went to. So we were kind of all over the place. Had a good time doing that. Haven't played too much Destiny since I've been back. Had to go back to work and all that stuff. But did get some Iron Banner in with Lego. It was Iron Banner. It was Control.
That's right, I forgot about that.
Yeah. It's it's still fun, and I like some of the changes. I didn't get any, because Masterworks went live Tuesday, right? Masterworks Armor?
The armor, Tuesday.
I didn't get any armor. I did finally, because, after getting my positive outlook that I never mentioned, I hadn't gotten a Masterworks weapon in weeks.
Yeah,
And I haven't played a ton, but I've always gone through at least all my milestones and challenges, all that. I hadn't gotten one in at least 3 weeks. So I got 3 or 4
That's cool.
one of the days. I didn't keep any of them, but it did give me enough Masterworks cores to upgrade my Better Devils, which...
Nice.
I don't know. Everyone was like, yeah, Better Devils. And then I used it, and I was like, man, hand cannons still suck. I should have picked another weapon. Yeah, it's been fun. Been still playing a lot of PUBG, and I mentioned to you guys before that there was something I just saw. It was just a headline on like Google Now. It just popped up, on my feed. There's an indie game that they're going to live stream the reveal of tomorrow. It's called Not My Car.
Okay.
And granted, it would take a lot for this comparison to really work out in the way I hope it is. But the headline was that the game is a mashup of PUBG and Twisted Metal.
Oh,
yeah.
What?
That's pretty awesome if that's true.
Called, like, there's only like a couple like 4 or 5 second clips on their Twitter. I'll send them. I think it's just twitter.com/notmycar.
Okay.
And if you go on their website, notmycar.com, you can sign up for the pre-alpha, which, like I said, they're revealing everything tomorrow, 6 p.m. Pacific. But yeah, the few short clips, like there's like a stealth bomber flying, and all these cars parachute out of it. It's like PUBG,
oh wow,
and then they have guns on them and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know how the like gearing up and everything will work, but I mean, PUBG we've clearly been addicted to. Twisted Metal was one of my favorite games of all time.
I love
that was
Twisted
the
Metal.
game, yeah.
So
it's a battle royale with cars.
With cars,
like. And I'm guessing you can go around and find upgrades to blast other cars and stuff like that.
I mean, that's the general idea of it. There are loot crates, like a plane drops, supply crates, just like all the other battle royales. So, I don't know, man. If it's half as good as it sounds like it could be, I'm pretty excited about that. Now it
could just be chaotic fun, honestly.
Yeah, and it is an indie developer. I don't even know who it is. Their Twitter has like 100 followers last I checked. So, I mean, it's brand new. They're just revealing it tomorrow, but it looks pretty amazing. So I'm excited about that. So check that out. That's
pretty sweet. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, notmycar.com. Just put in your email address, and they'll send you a thing that says you're on the list for the pre-alpha. So it sounds like it's a long way away, but it looks pretty good. I mean, the graphics are good.
Yeah, I actually just went to their Twitter right now just so I can have it up when I'm done with the podcast, so I can remember.
Yeah, I'm like seriously, How good was Twisted Metal 2? Was like my favorite game.
2 is definitely the best.
Fun.
Like
2 is definitely the best.
It had like great gameplay. It was fun. It was exciting, but it also had like, for a ridiculous game like that, it also had like kind of cool lore to it, right? With like Sweet Tooth and then Minion and like all this. Yeah.
Everyone had their own ending.
Yeah. Like it was actually pretty deep for like, hey, let's drive these cars around and blow up other cars. Like,
and then like Callisto always had like twists on their ending, right? Like he would grant you the wish, but he always would like turn it back on you in some way. Yeah, it was.
What was it in? I guess Twisted Metal 1, Minion was like the semi-boss, and then he was a playable character in the second one, right?
Yeah, from that volcano level, you had to fight. Remember at the end of that one volcano level,
like
you had to fight him.
It was like
yeah,
exactly.
But you could unlock him early with one of those like codes at the
up down, A B A B, left right start.
Him and Sweet Tooth were unlocked that way. Yeah, that was sweet.
Yeah,
I think Warthog was my favorite. Those Patriot missiles. He was the Hummer.
I liked the Wasn't there like some sort of like exotic police car?
Outlaw, remember? It was the chick, and in the first one, it was the guy. The lightning thing came around. Oh man, now I'm getting all pumped up. I really am like, I'm so dude, I'm gonna be able to play Twisted Metal.
I never owned a PlayStation, so I used to look for when that game came out. I was so pumped to go back over to my friend's place to play it.
I didn't have a PlayStation either. I used to go to my friend's house all the time. Gonna be completely honest, haven't talked to him in probably 20 years. I don't even know if we were friends. He just had a lot of good PlayStation games. I think he was one of those kids that like my parents told me like he's bad news, don't play with that kid. And I was like, but he has a PlayStation.
He has a PlayStation. Games. There's always that like one kid growing up that got like the game, but he was like spoiled rich, got the games everyone wanted to play. There was a kid like that on our track team in high school that had 2 N64s, so we would go over there and play like tons of GoldenEye. It was pretty awesome. There's always that one kid.
The system around my block was like I was the Nintendo guy. Then I had like a few of my other friends all had Xboxes. So like all I had to do was bring my little like TV monitor thing over, and we'd hook up our stuff for LAN. And then like the other friends, PlayStation. So like everyone was kind of like equal. Like we were balanced with the gaming. We can just go back and forth and play whatever. It was amazing.
Yeah, I was always a Sega guy. I always had Genesis and
That's what I started out with.
Yeah.
Sega and Sega Saturn I started out with.
Yeah, I had a Sega Saturn. That kind of sucked, let's be honest. That generation Sega.
I had decent, like, maybe like 6 games I used to play on it. I had like 15 games.
Yeah.
But like 8 of them were just like, what are these?
8 of them were Echo the Dolphin. No, I mean, you look at like all the other generations, like you had Genesis and Super Nintendo. Like you could argue either one of those was better. Dreamcast and like, I guess Dreamcast was.
Well, I thought Dreamcast was with
N64.
like PS2 or PS1. Right? Because Dreamcast was so far ahead. I thought
that was the problem. It was actually like it was like 128-bit or whatever. It was like after. It was like PlayStation 2, but it came out way before,
way earlier. Right.
So
right.
they
like,
kind of
I never got that Dreamcast. Like it didn't really do too hot. I don't think it was widely like.
It killed it early, but the problem was it. You know, like we said, it came out so early that those next consoles were still the same generation and had like another year or two before they came out.
Right.
But like it had the little I forget what it was called, but remember it had the little memory card that went in it and had a screen. And
you could take it out. Madden players, so it was like revolutionary, so no one could see your screen. Yeah, that was awesome.
And it was like the precursor to like online play. Like it was like dial-up, but you could do like
Phantasy Star Online.
Yeah,
Phantasy Star Online was that game.
Dreamcast
I'm trying
was
to figure,
great.
When was Saturn? What other systems were out when Saturn was out? Because I remember
PlayStation
they had
1.
Sega CD.
It was when the CD came out. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's not the same thing as Sega CD. Saturn and Sega CD were like 2 different things.
CD, they tried to do something weird with CD that never took off.
It was the same thing. They were the first ones to have CDs,
Yeah.
like way ahead of anybody. Sega was the shit.
Fun times.
Lego's gonna be so proud of us.
Not to mention some of the games for Sega, if you go back and play it, they're so hard.
They
are so
hard.
Lion King, Aladdin, forget about it.
Exactly.
Forget about it. Echo the Dolphin.
Echo.
Dude, have you played the Jurassic Park game?
Yes.
No. I think there's 2 of them.
There was Lost World, yeah.
They were fun. Also for the Sega Saturn, actually, that was one of the good games for the Sega Saturn, was the Lost World Jurassic Park, which was creepy because of the graphics at the time.
Yeah. There were definitely, I mean, there were some good games, but I think a lot of the Saturn games that were good were like cross-platform. Like, I don't know, I can't think of any real good
like exclusives
for Saturn.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, there's Virtual Fighter, but I think that
Sonic,
was multi-class.
Virtual Fighter was
too.
good.
There wasn't a Sonic exclusive?
Well, there was Sonic 3D. I don't know if that was exclusive. It was a weird one where
it was at that point.
It was a strange Sonic game. I didn't really like the 3D at the time. I thought it was very weird.
They were trying to do new things.
Yeah, prototyping things.
But Dreamcast, listen, I'm sorry, Lego, wherever you are, that we're not talking about Destiny yet, but we're having a little fun, man. Do you remember Jet Grind Radio? They also changed the name to Jet Set Radio. It was like cel-shaded graphics, and you were like
that sounds
like an Asian spray painting street gang.
Yes, I do remember that.
And the music was so badass. It was like Rob Zombie and Cole.
Oh, wow.
Oh, dude, it was
I do remember that.
And then Power Stone was my other favorite game. Remember that one?
Power Stone.
It was one of the first. It was a 3D fighting game, but cartoony looking. It wasn't supposed to look real. And every like so often, these like they looked like Chaos Emeralds or something from Sonic would drop, and if you collected 3 of them, you like fucking went Super Saiyan and got like special powers. Each character got different ones.
Well, see, now you're describing it. It sounds familiar. The name doesn't sound familiar, but that gameplay sounds familiar.
And like it had interactive environments. Like there'd be barrels you could kick and throw at people, and like jump off of walls, and it was crazy, man. It was so good.
Just reminiscing.
Good old days.
Well, they brought about like the 2K games, right? Like NFL 2K was them. I remember like Randy Moss was one of the cover guys on like one of the first ones they had out.
That was when at least NFL for sure started to get way better reviewed than Madden and started to outsell it. And all of a sudden, EA signed this exclusivity contract with, or however it worked, with the NFL that only they could use their name. So there was like one more 2K game with like the Pittsburgh like Iron Workers versus like you know what I mean, like they couldn't use any like NFL names or players, and you can't have an NFL game that doesn't have
the actual player.
This is before Dreamcast, but you guys remember Mutant League football and Mutant League hockey.
I remember like the Blitz games. I don't know, was it like that?
Mutant League, they were all like monsters, and you could like bribe the refs, and you could like pull people's heads off. All kinds of crazy shit. Yeah, you could like bribe the refs. It wouldn't work every time, but anyway, okay.
I kind of want to play that.
What did you bribe? Like you had money on you at the game? Like
there was like it was kind of like like a grenade in Destiny. It had like a cooldown. You could like try to bribe the refs every few plays.
You know, a wallet with a cooldown. That's
oh my
awesome.
God, I'll have to send that to you guys later. Mutant League stuff was amazing. So anyway, I guess we'll just jump right into the TWAB. There's some more good stuff. First of all, they talk about it in the TWAB, but they tweeted it out yesterday or the day before. Did you guys see the Destiny 2 roadmap? Which not only have we been asking for roadmaps for a long time, but this one's really good. I do want to point out, because I'll never hear the end of it, one of the things in here, they were talking about power ammo, and that it's going to drop more often, and that enemies are going to drop their power ammo when they die. So I'm sitting there eating lunch and reading this. Literally, as I'm reading that, I thought to myself, fucking Wendler said that they were going to have it drop from enemies. I'm going to hear about it. Literally, as I'm eating, he texts me, goes, when you perfectly guess PvP sandbox changes, and then sends me all these stupid fucking memes. He was like, I called out ammo spawns and drop on death. Feels good, man. I expect, damn it, Wendler was right as the podcast title. So you won't get a podcast title, but fuck, Wendler was right.
The worst when he can brag about it.
I swear to God, I texted him. I was like, I'm literally reading it right now, and just thought 3 seconds ago, God damn it, now I'm going to hear shit from Wendler.
Nice.
I was sitting at Chick-fil-A eating lunch. It was terrible.
It was terrible.
But, yeah, really good roadmap. I mean, it lists out, the next 4 updates?
Yeah, well, not the next, like one of them is the deployed just on Tuesday.
Right.
So, but you're right. I mean, there's 4.
And, we'll go through some of this stuff and when it's coming, but I do want to point out some of this stuff was stuff that was originally on that original roadmap as fall or sooner. And they have said that, some of this stuff, it's looking good, but none of it's still guaranteed. But some of this stuff has moved up quite a bit from when we were first told about it. So let's get into that. They start off talking about, update 1.1.2 went live. Armor Masterworks and raid mods. Rewards been restructured for both the raid and the raid layer. And then there's a full rundown of the patch notes on there. Also yesterday, part 2 of the webcomic series is available. Which, have either of you guys checked out part 1 yet?
No, I haven't actually checked those out yet.
I've heard really good things. I do want to look at it. Like I said, I've just been kind of out and about a lot. I haven't had a lot of time to do those kind of things. I've been talking about Dreamcast a lot.
I forgot my PS4 was on because I was just playing Monster Hunter a little bit ago with Gunga, and I just said that small phrase, no, I haven't checked it out yet. And PS4 is just like, what's up?
Cannot perform that
How
action.
did you even hear me? I have nothing plugged in. This doesn't have a mic plugged into it. What? I'm confused. I'm scared. I don't know. It's Lego.
Skynet.
It's Lego hacking into my stuff again, turning it on.
It might be. It might be.
He's in chat. I see you.
He's a creep. Lego's a creep. He's actually outside your house. That's why he couldn't be on the podcast.
Now I'm just scared, honestly.
But, so they said, we've also mapped the road ahead, plotting a course through the coming months with a full schedule of updates. Christopher Barrett provides commentary for upcoming changes with some insight as to what you can expect for the future. Take a peek and sound off with your thoughts. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to sound off with our thoughts. Not that anybody's going to listen to them. So anyway, the one that went live, 1.1.2, as we said, had the Armor Masterworks, raid rewards, Prometheus lens buff, Flashpoint milestone fix, Lost and Found notifications, exotics and heroic strikes, Mercury challenges on adventures, fix the clan engrams in Nightfall, and new challenges in quick play. So I know we kind of touched on it, but man, I already know your answer. Triton, you didn't get any Masterworks armor. You haven't really played that yet, right?
No, I mean, since it went live Tuesday, I was just on today, so I didn't get anything in the. Can you get You can't get Masterwork stuff from Hawthorne, right?
I don't see why not. I think anywhere you can get legendary.
Yeah,
stuff,
anywhere
right?
you can get a legendary. So I didn't get any from the 2 engrams there, and then the 1 game of Iron Banner also no. So not too experienced that yet.
Yeah, I haven't gotten any yet either. I am looking forward to that. I'm assuming it was out before it was during last week's, because of course I missed one of the like bigger TWABs last week with all the patch notes that you guys had to talk about. But was it last week already that you guys had heard that the buffs were stackable on that 3% for each armor piece? I mean, it's not a huge amount, but like you don't want it to be crazy. And if you want to go for a whole set, I feel like 15%. I mean, that could make
That's reasonable.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gone. I mean, 25 doesn't sound crazy, but I bet you that would have been a little
Yeah, sometimes
crazy.
like those percentages, it's hard to know like whatever the base value is, right? Because like 20, like you mentioned, 25 could be unreasonable. I know this is Destiny, but like in Battlefront they increased the heat time on something by 0.011, and I was like, this will make no difference. And then I started using it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. So it could be that. So 15 seems reasonable. I think you mentioned it, Hope, actually, that it could stack like that. So
I just figured it had to, the way they had discussed it originally. So we'll move on. The next one is coming February 27th. Strikes and Social. Looks like they named them all. I like that. Nightfall scoring and high score tracking, which nothing's going to bring people back, but I liked it in D1. Like it's something to do.
It's something a little neat, I guess, to add in there.
Yeah. Now that I said I like it, I'll probably end up hating it. Because when it came out in D1, I talked so much shit on it, and then we went in there one day, and I was like, this is fucking awesome. I wrecked everybody. It was great. That's pretty much how I sounded.
That is. Lego and I were both there.
Emblem/Aura rework. Fire team members on destination map.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, we needed that since day one.
You know who still won't show up on my map, though? Mana, because he doesn't play.
I could eventually jump on. I don't know. We'll see.
PC public text chat as an opt-in, which I believe that's one that was a little bit sooner than they originally said, right?
Yeah, I think that was on like maybe because it was on like that very last list that was like, here's a bunch of things in the air, but they're probably not as high priority. So yes, I think so.
Exotic repetition reduction, which I swear we've heard like
a few times,
like from so many different places. Like, we're gonna have this engram that won't have repetitious exotics. Also, we're gonna cut down on repetitious exotics. Also, in our next so that one, I don't know. It's whatever.
It's there. We can believe it again, but will it actually have an effect?
We're watching you, Bungie.
Mm-hmm.
Companion mod / shader interactions. So I don't know.
So
I'm assuming they mean with the companion app, right?
That's the only thing I'm thinking of.
Yeah. I guess, can you not move them right now?
I thought you could.
Haven't tried.
I don't know, because I don't use the companion app.
It's like I haven't used it in a while, so I don't.
I haven't used it since like early D1, except like the couple times Dim was down that I did use it. Companion vendor viewing, and I mean that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Nightfall Strike unique rewards, and that's one that does have an asterisk. It says these features are stretch goals that have a chance to slip to a later release. But the fact that they're even putting it out there for the 27th, is good.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that I think that's big. I think that's anytime you put something unique to any activity, that's a reason to do it.
Right. I think that's the biggest thing.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, like I looked at that whole list. To me, that is, as you mentioned, that's the biggest thing for me. If they are able to do this and they do put the qualifier, we may not. That would be, because I think you started out saying like maybe the Nightfall scoring might not bring people back, but it is kind of cool. It's there. The unique rewards for Nightfall, I think, would bring some people back for sure. So that's the biggest thing on. So hopefully they can hit that date, because if you throw that in there with scoring, maybe that ties in some way like a unique reward. If you hit a certain score, that would be kind of cool.
That would be nice.
That would be that would definitely get me to play a few more Nightfalls for sure.
Yeah.
So going back to the Emblem Aura rework, like, did they say anything about like what they're doing to that? Like, I'm just curious on how they're reworking it.
I'm trying to think if they kind of explain that in like the big patch notes, but I don't remember.
I don't remember
think so.
that at all.
Yeah, me neither. That's why I'm curious about how they're reworking it.
I mean, I want to say they maybe said something about like, kind of not much more than this. Like, we want to look at it and make it more maybe not impactful, but like interesting. But I don't remember any specifics on it. I could be wrong. I drank a lot in Canada. I love Canada, by the way. If there's any Canadians here, I love your country. Also, I love all dressed. Listen, here's another thing. Have you guys ever had all dressed potato chips?
All dressed.
All dressed.
All dressed.
Never heard of it, but I may have had them.
What?
Like, I never heard it put that way. Like, I may have had
that's
a potato
what they're
chip.
called.
Oh, okay, wow.
That's like Ruffles all dressed.
Then no.
I think I have, actually.
Okay, so they just started selling them in the U.S. in like 2016. I did research. But they're a big Canadian thing. Like, they even have like a Canadian flag and a maple leaf on them, I think. Like,
Yeah. I've had them. Actually, it was in PA. We were getting fitted for our suits for my buddy's wedding. And while we were waiting, I just went down the street to store or whatever because we were hungry. We couldn't wait. And I saw them on like the shelf thing. I was just like, what are these?
Did you like them?
Buy them? Yeah, they're actually pretty good.
They're a mixture of sour cream and onion, barbecue, ketchup, and salt and vinegar.
Wow.
And I know that sounds absolutely ridiculous, but they're delicious.
But not on a chip.
But like, oh, I'm going to take every flavor ever and just put them all together. They're really good. Try them. All dressed chips.
Yeah.
Thank you, Canada. Also, their Molson's better up there.
Their what?
Molson beer.
Oh, Molson
It's
beer.
actually different than the Molson we get.
Really?
Yeah. Because we suck because we're American.
Apparently Canada does it right.
Canada's fucking awesome. I'm going back as soon as possible.
And while we're still talking about that, there was a chance that Hove was still in Canada when he sent me a 2:47 a.m. text to go to Eaton Park, which I presume to be drunk at the time in which I received that text. Only it wasn't me. I woke up. It was my wife wondering, like, oh, I hope everyone's okay. Look over. Hove, Triton, all caps, Eaton Park now, exclamation point. I'm like, nah, it's just fucking Hove.
When was that?
2:47 either on Sunday into Monday
No.
or Monday into Tuesday. Maybe you were back. I don't know.
Oh, I was back. I came back Saturday. We were supposed to come back Friday. We were at dinner in Windsor. And we were like, you know what? Fuck it. We have off 3 more days. And we booked a room in Niagara Falls. 2 rooms. 2 rooms.
We hadn't heard from you because, like you mentioned here, you didn't have reception at points. I was like, oh, well, at least Hope's alive.
Barely.
So that was nice to know.
Oh, also, another city we almost drove through. We had to drive right by Youngstown. And so I called Mana repeatedly, and he didn't answer, so we didn't stop.
Did you really?
No, I didn't, actually.
I was like, what? Like, are you sure you were calling me?
Because we had to drive up the turnpike. We ended up going to Cleveland,
Yeah.
so we weren't that far outside of Youngstown.
Oh, okay.
Okay, back to Destiny. Sorry, Lego.
I almost felt really bad there. It's like, you called me multiple times? Like, how did I not get that?
What do you mean? I text you and call you to come on the podcast, and you answer half the time.
Well, yeah, because half the time I'm currently jumping on. So,
okay. Anything else on that one? Like we said, kind of the Nightfall Strike unique rewards is kind of the main selling point of that one, right?
Yeah, if they can get there, yeah.
Right. 1.1.4, March 27th. They're calling this one Sandbox and Crucible, which names alone I feel like is the one that's going to get people the most excited. And they do we'll talk Sandbox after we kind of go through this because they do. Josh Hamrick had a nice little post. So for this one, we're talking about weapon and ability sandbox changes. Very specific. Heroic strike modifiers.
That's cool.
That's always cool.
okay.
Iron Banner 6v6.
Yes. And I feel vindicated for this because I feel like when we mentioned 6 is coming back, I always put in the context for Iron Banner. So I'm super pumped for this one. Not as much as Sandbox, but I'm
interested, but at the same time, if they're going to be the same maps as we're getting now, a lot of maps are small.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
I don't know. We're going to have to see. I'm interested though. It might be the cure. It might be a little too crammed. I don't know.
We shall see.
We shall see.
I do think, kind of like Triton was saying, though, we'll see how it works out logistically. But I think it is nice that, Triton, like you said, one of the things that always appealed to you for Iron Banner is even though there are always 6s, in D1, it was nice that was when a lot of people who maybe didn't play that often jumped on to do Iron Banner. So that was always a time you could get 5 of your friends together and go play. And now
absolutely.
you can't do that anymore. So I think that's going to be helpful. In theory, we'll see how it works out, logistically. Weekly Crucible playlist, including Mayhem.
Another big one,
because you got to think some of the things that we've seen kind of data mined were Elimination and Rumble. So you'd think that those would come back at some point. I know, we know Lego has wanted Rumble back forever.
Yes.
Same.
Elimination is something I really think would be good to have back.
Yeah.
Not even necessarily so much just to have it back, because I never really touched the elimination play mode by itself in D1. Because the whole point of that, the whole reason it worked so well for Trials was the stakes. The steaks that were not steaks that you eat. I love steak.
I like steak.
I love steak. I had a really good steak in Canada. I also ate at a really good Italian place. One of the best meals I ever had. It was veal. It was veal, pan seared in extra virgin olive oil with fresh garlic. But anyway, what were we talking about?
Steak.
We're talking about.
I mean,
yeah, I never touched just the elimination playlist, because the whole fun of elimination from Trials was the stakes that were there.
Right.
Progressing through elimination, especially by yourself, was no fun.
No.
When there was nothing to play for, because it was this slow game mode where you didn't really care what happened, and then if you did die, then you sat there. So it excites me for the possibility that maybe we could eventually see that added back in as a Trials game mode.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That's not something I say I'm expecting, but fingers crossed.
Well, did we know before if it was going to be weekly? So we talked about rotating playlists, but I don't know if weekly was what they said. So we knew maybe it could be monthly or seasonal, but to get a different one every week, I think is cool. I don't know if that was the case or not. I mean, it could have been.
No, I think all they had said before was that Mayhem would be returning every so often. And we kind of, deduced from that, well, hey, if you're going to bring that back, say, once a month, why not have a different one rotating throughout?
Yeah, that'd be cool. Weekly is very cool.
Yeah, I think this is actually better than what we thought, because I think our thought was like Faction Rally a week, Iron Banner a week, Mayhem a week,
Right.
So this sounds like it would be on top of
Faction Rallies and Iron Banner,
right?
Yeah. Hopefully.
Crucible ammo and gameplay tuning, which again we'll talk about after this part. Nightfall challenge cards.
I don't know about that.
I like Nightfall challenges.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Cards sounds like some sort of new,
bounty system.
Some sort. Yeah, something. It's got to be slightly different, or else why not just call it a milestone or a challenge or a bounty? So it's got to be something interesting. Crucible quitter penalties, which is also something. It's nice to see that they're talking about implementing it, because how many times they mentioned that's something we want to look at, but never gave us any idea how they wanted to do it or if they were doing it. So it's nice to see that is on their plate. Repeat Crucible map / strike protection, which thank you God, because
yes,
also yes,
3 or 4 games of Iron Banner that Lego and I played were the same map over and over again. It was a map I like, but come on, man. It was that one. No. It was the PC beta map.
Oh, okay. The one on Nessus?
I don't know, man.
I think it's the one on
Nessus. Like when I used to actually play D2, like I would get that the Iron Peak or whatever it's called, like the
Volstock.
Is that what it's called? I would get that
Volstock. Yeah.
I would get that and the one game mode every game, like 3 games in a row.
Survival?
I can't even think what it's called. The Supremacy. I would get that and Supremacy together. Like 3 games in a row before it changes. It just drive me insane. I'm like, where's the other maps and game modes in this game? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was
like that itself would just make me rage.
Yeah, I mean, there's times, even if it's a map I like, come on, man. And
it's even some variety.
It's even worse in D2 than it would have been in D1, because every game's just the same. Do you know what I mean? Like, because of how slow everything is, it's pop out, team shot, duck, recover, pop out. So, like, if you keep playing the same game mode on the same map, it's like you're just playing one long game forever. And finally, exotic weapon / armor sandbox changes.
With the asterisk.
That one is one that they say could be pushed back.
Mm-hmm.
I do like, though, that they at least separated that from regular weapon and ability sandbox changes. So it sounds more like they are making changes. Exotic ones may take a little bit longer, which, yeah, we don't want to wait for anything. But if it's because they want to make them more unique, make them more fun to use, make them more powerful, just make them different, that's good. You know, it's not just falling in with the rest of the changes.
Yeah, and I want to say like the Nightfall stuff and both the ones that we just talked about, the the February 27 to March 27. I even think Nightfall is one of the things that like doesn't seem rewarding to me. So to have that mentioned on both ones, I think kudos to Bungie for kind of stepping up and whatever the challenge cards are, and then potentially the unique rewards. I mean that's definitely more of an incentive than now, where I just feel like it's like an extra hard heroic strike with basically the same stuff. So
if it's like worth loot, then I'll do more Nightfalls, because before I didn't really like Nightfalls just because of like the timed.
Yep, absolutely.
Like I felt rushed. Like before I used to love like back then D1 where the Nightfalls, like if you die you reset. I used to love that. I used to love the sense of like I can't mess up or else I have to do it all over. One of my first YouTube videos was me with my buddy, like we died and had to reset like a couple times over and over again. Like I don't know, I really miss that.
And to be fair, that is one of those, kind of rose-colored glasses things, because I feel like a lot of the things that we as a community say we missed were things that we bitched and moaned about when they were in the game. I'm not saying that was one of them, but just in general. But no, I definitely, I remember it was like, you almost didn't dare go in by yourself, because even if you could get it done, it was going to take you like an hour. Like you had to like, did you guys get your Nightfalls done? Will someone help me with the Nightfall? And it definitely was a lot of fun. That might be hard to do now because, you can't find anybody to play with. But, in theory, no, I really did like that. So yeah, those three are all listed under a subset of Season 2. All three of those updates, which, looking at all those, it's a lot of things that, prior to the sandbox change, I don't think there's too much in there that's going to bring back a lot of people who said they quit. But it gives the people who maybe play a little bit or who like still don't play but are like on a Destiny podcast, maybe they come back and they play a little bit. So I think
looking pretty good for those type of players.
I think they're all positive. I'm pretty happy with all that. You guys, any overall thoughts?
No, I agree with that.
I mean, as you said, for a player that's on a Destiny podcast and don't play into Destiny, all these changes so far look they look good. They look good. Like I hope, like you said, the little asterisks, like I hope they do get those in. The Nightfall strike on the 27th February, and then exotic weapon armor sandbox changes. I hope all those actually make their mark on the 27th.
Yeah, I agree.
Still afraid of the 6v6 Iron Banner. It sounds good, but just because of the map size, like I'm just,
Well, we'll see, because we're also going to talk about some of the sandbox changes that are going to come the same update.
Yeah.
So maybe that could have some effect. So the final one is 1.2.0. Is called a new season of content. Is scheduled for May, and it is the beginning of Season 3, which Chris Barrett has also said is when the next DLC is going to drop. These are going to be part of the next DLC as well as Season 3. So that's cool. Wendler keeps telling me in chat over and over again.
I know. I was just about to say that too.
Like, we haven't gotten there yet, Wendler. We will, I promise, buddy. You were right once this week. That's enough. So anyway, with that one, that's when the Eater of Worlds Prestige mode is coming out. Which, I know it seems like it's been a long time, but if you look at it logistically, it's because they've been working on all this other crazy shit and trying to throw stuff together. So I'm cool with that. Fix the game before you bring out
Well, definitely.
that stuff. So that should be nice, and that'll be after reworked rewards. And it sounds like you're going to get a reason to play Prestige mode, because now it's going to be similar to D1, where if you play Prestige mode, you get the rewards for normal and Prestige. And if we're talking about guaranteed drops and, a lot of the stuff that you guys talked about last week, I believe, that gives you a reason to do it at this point.
Yeah, for sure.
There is none. I'm just laughing. Are you laughing at Wendler in chat? Because I am. Next one is seasonal crucible. Seasonable. I season the shit out of everything, especially steak. Seasonal crucible rankings.
Something a lot of people have been asking for.
And I like that these come the one right after the sandbox changes, right? So they still have some time. If those sandbox changes aren't exactly what they want to tune that, I think they have all of April before we start getting some people being ranked. So good move on their part in terms of deployment. And again, like Mena said, people have been asking for it.
Yeah, like I said, dude, people have been wanting this ever since D1, and now it's finally there. But is it too late for some players? Is what I'm afraid about. I'm probably going to come back. I'll give it a go. That's definitely, at least for season 3, 100%. I'll probably come back.
You'll be back before
So,
then. We'll make you.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm probably going to check in just to see what's happening, for the next. But 100%, I will be coming back for season 3, just because I just want to something ranked for once that I might enjoy.
Yeah,
might enjoy.
Now we've mentioned a couple things when they first mentioned seasonal Crucible rankings that we were a little hesitant about. One of them being still the peer-to-peer and connections, and if that's even more skill-based, and who knows how that could go, but we'll see. The other one being, and you're right about it coming out after the sandbox changes. I think that's big, because a lot of the PvP players right now are saying, like, I don't care if there's rankings if I don't care to play it, like if it's not fun and things don't change. So as we'll get to right after this, we'll see what we think of those changes, if they're going to help, and then we'll really find out in 2 months when those changes are in place. But I think it's a big step that at least we're getting there. At least they're making these changes. The next one's private matches, which I think kind of go along with that, because now you can fuck around. Vault space increase.
That's always a plus.
I'm surprised that one's taken this long, because weren't they saying like the vault space increase was the temporary fix and they were going to do something else long term?
Like kiosks or something.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
So we have to wait 4 months for the temporary fix? Ouch.
And I care a little bit more about that shader mod space than I do the vault, to be honest with you.
Same. I didn't really have a problem with vault space. The only thing was just clutter of me being lazy to like do anything with the loot that I got, Right.
That shader space, man. 50 is just not doing. 50's not doing it for us.
There's more shaders than there are spaces. Like,
right.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that, but I don't like the fact that it's literally like almost it's 3.5 to 4 months, anywhere up to 4 months until that vault space increase, and they
like
still
you said,
are saying
it's just a temp one.
Yeah, which is fine that it's temporary, but
right.
I feel like I wish it would have been sooner, especially when they've been saying like, and they've been very transparent about the issues with deleting shaders right now. So if you can't get the vault space out for 3 months and you can't figure out how to do the shaders, that sucks. Like,
yeah, I agree.
The next one's a big one, multi-emote.
Something that it's not like a huge thing, but something we would have liked a long time ago. Honestly.
Like when the game came out, because most other games have it.
Well, the first time in D1 where Eververse was just selling multiple emotes, you're just like, oh, snap. And you're like, I can only equip one, though.
One.
So, that's cool, I guess. Yeah,
especially when you're like, you had to pick, do I want to be badass or do I want to be funny?
Yeah.
Like, there might be something where you did something super badass. You want to give the guy the, like, cutthroat. And you have on like the fucking stupid, like, do you know what I mean? And you're like, oh, yeah. And you're like, oh, well, that ruined the mood. Exotic Masterworks, which I don't know. I think people seem to be excited about this. I don't know how I feel.
I feel like if they're exotic, why do we need the Masterworks
now, if they're just being Masterworks in the sense that they're getting those extra perks, whether it be orb generation for weapons, super damage reduction for armor, I get that, because at this point you're sacrificing that to put on an exotic, right?
True. That's true.
So that I'm okay with. I don't want to see them have rerollable perks.
Yeah, don't do that.
Although I guess for the armor, I guess I wouldn't be, if the rerollable perks are the like mobility and whatever they're called now, intellect, discipline. I don't know what the fuck they're called, but I'm talking about mobility.
Yeah, it's like resistance
and
recovery.
Recovery. Yeah, if it's those, then I guess I am okay with it. Now on second thought, because it was the same
I'd be
thing.
Okay with that.
Like, you remember Zur, like one of my things, like every Friday, I remember I would watch whoever I saw posted first Holtzman or Dado, I would watch their Zer videos because it's like, oh, they're selling, don't touch me's with intellect and discipline for your hunter.
Right.
That's a great roll this week. So I guess I actually would be okay with that now that I think about it, as long as that's all that changes.
And I forgot that we were in that environment too. So you bring up a good point because if you're a Destiny 1 player, you're very used to having re-rolls on that kind of stuff and searching for that. Like if it was Nothing Medical was maybe getting the all discipline one the 1 week it was sold because you kind of, that lends to it. So I would be perfectly fine with that.
Yeah.
I remember actually stacking up on those, were they glass needles to try to re-roll your exotic
glass
armors
needles
to try to get that, what the highest, what were they, tier 3 like armor, like the perfect rolls where you get
tier 12
or what's 12, yeah, that's
12.
a 12, there's 4 on each or something, whatever. I tried so hard because I got so many people asking, Amanda, you carry in trials, why don't you have really good armor piece for the longest time? I was like, I don't really care. But towards the end of year 3, I was like, I guess I can finally look into it. And then I got addicted. I almost became competitive. I was like, I really want the perfect character now.
I thought to get 12, you had to really sacrifice like another bonus, like increased grenade throw speed on like the gauntlets. You could almost never get that on what would be a 4, I guess. Like I was under another impression that like that high level armor wasn't the best ability; it just was the best stat.
That's one I never got into. I have no idea. You're speaking all kinds of different languages.
I can't remember. All I wanted to know is all I tried to do was on my hunter was I just tried to get the perfect roll on my Bones of AO so I can keep that and with my other armor because I was just too attached to it. It was just too good.
All right. Okay. Last couple, seasonal vendor progression, which we've talked about before. I think that's something that's cool. I do like, it's similar to what we had in D1, except that was just over the lifespan. I do like that it is seasonal now because, as we've said, that lets them bring in, like, hey, if you get to level 25 this season, it unlocks this, this seasonal exclusive reward. Which then, and not that I want Eververse to be a thing, but that kind of lends it to them putting things as Eververse the way they want to. And this is going to be an unpopular opinion, probably. But, say it's a season 2 or season 3 reward. Okay? There is a direct path to earn it if you want to. Yes. After that, the only way to get it is from buying whatever from Eververse. That lets them do their thing with Eververse, but it also gives you that chance to earn it and still gives that kind of exclusive reward. Hey, I was here during season 3.
Yeah.
So
I'd be good with that.
I don't want that to happen, but let's face it, Eververse isn't going away, so let's try to find the best way to implement it that doesn't piss everybody off.
I guess, right?
And faction rallies improvements.
That's good. They could use it, right?
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah, at this point, yeah.
And last one, which this one's kind of disappointing that 1, it's this far away. 2, that it's still one of their stretch goals that could move.
Yeah.
Mods system improvements. The only thing that gives me hope is the fact that it is so far away. I'm hoping it is more in depth and interesting and gives you more power, and it isn't.
That they're gonna write.
Yeah, because I don't know anything about game, coding. We say this all the time, but I mean, if it was just simple mods like they are now, I don't feel like why would it take as long as it is. So I don't know, but I'm hoping.
Unless they're just prioritizing so many things in front of it that they're like, you know what, these little mods, we'll just save them for last or something,
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely a possibility.
Goes out of the way. Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like mods, though, are one of the things that, if you really look at it, it's been brought up, and I'm sure to them, and I'm sure they've heard it. If we're not going to bring back random rolls on guns, mods are a big way to differentiate things and give yourself.
That's like the depth,
right?
Like that the weapons and armor have. Then
Yeah.
So
I think it could be a big thing. I'm hoping. All right, so that is the Destiny roadmap up to season 3, which also includes the new DLC. What do you guys think? Happy with all that stuff? Anything that you wish was on there?
I'm happy with everything. I think the one thing I'm getting hung up on, and we did this when we got to the first one, was a lot of the stuff that you're most excited for could be pushed back. Not all of it, but some of it is just, the stuff I think a lot of people are excited about is the tentative stuff. So that's, if that all happens, excited. If only maybe 1 or 2, not as sure. I think Iron Banner 6 though is a big one for me. That's that one. if I had to think about, is there something that'll definitely bring you back, that'll be it. Because even for me, and Mana brings up a good point from like the map sizes, not that kind of player where like I really think about that kind of stuff. It's either like, oh, I'm really doing shitty, or oh, I'm not. So I probably will play that regardless.
I'm just happy that they gave us a visual roadmap of what they're preparing to do. Like, one of the ultimate ways that they could tell us this is what we're doing, you know? Like, I'm really proud of Bungie coming out with this.
Yeah.
But I'm sad that a lot of the big changes that I look forward to are all the way over in season 3. But I mean, the changes leading up to it, especially the sandbox and the Crucible.
Yeah.
Like strikes and social, February, the change. Some of these are okay. The Nightfall Strike unique rewards are pretty much the biggest one, and that could be pushed back. So I'm just like, 6v6 Iron Banner, like, could be good. Could be good.
I do think,
of course, the sandbox changes and all that.
Right.
I'm always looking forward to, but everything that catches my eye is in May, and I'm sad because it's so far away.
Well, I think, I agree with both of you. I do think that's kind of by nature, though. The things that we're looking forward to the most are because they are big changes and they're going to affect the game a lot. So they're obviously things that would take more time, Yep. So as disappointing as it is, I do understand it. I think it's logical. I think it makes sense.
It's like, I'm not really disappointed. I'm just sad because they are the big things that they are changing. And of course, it would make sense that they're getting all these smaller things out before it, building up to it, maybe improving something so they can add that. So paving the way for something bigger.
Yeah. And I do think that's what a lot of these are. They're kind of foundational things that will let them build upon the game in the way that we kind of hope they will. In one of those ways being sandbox changes. Dun, dun, dun. Segue. The next thing in the TWAB was the sandbox developer commentary. They have Josh Hamrick back on again, who, if you guys follow some Bungie people on Twitter, he's one of the design leads, and he was really kind of, one of the first guys to really start communicating in real time on Twitter with people. You guys remember that even in D1? Answering people's questions and kind of giving us some insight on buffs, nerfs, changes. So it's good to hear from him. He says, before we get started, I want to lend some context. I'm just going to paraphrase a lot of this. Sandbox team is working on lots of stuff for Destiny 2 over the next few months as all these dates approach. Him or someone else from the team will stop in and kind of give us updates. He just said, know that we'll be chatting with you again and again to share more details with you as we acquire them. This meal will span many courses. It's my kind of meal. So they've begun playtesting a bunch of changes that we'll have in our hands over the next few months. Sandbox has lovingly begun to refer to this series of changes as the, quote, go fast update, which I think on its own is very hopeful sounding, right? Go fast, move faster. These are the changes we are currently playtesting. They're not guaranteed to ship, but the outlook is good at this point. So that's about as
much
as
it can
good. Yeah, this is what we really needed from them. Let's get through this, and then we'll kind of talk about that. But their goals for this round are to provide individual players with more hero moments, which we've said countless times, by increasing overall speed and mobility, increasing the amount of supers you charge to demolish your enemies, and increasing the frequency and impact of our most montage-worthy power weapons, especially in the Crucible. That is all things that are big.
I'm liking the sound of it.
Yes.
Yep. Like how they use montage there.
Yeah, and hero moment.
Hero
Hey, I'm just going to say, we've said hero moment, and we brought up nobody wanting to watch Destiny 2 montages for months.
If they exist.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So anyway, first one, all 3 glides plus catapult and strafe lift have been retuned and buffed to make them more unique and faster. So
I dig it.
I think, to me, that sounds, I don't think they're going to go all the way back to Titan skating, Warlock surfing, but it sounds like it's kind of in that direction. They just don't want to use those words, because as soon as you say those words, even if you say, we're going to make it more like that, people are like, this isn't Titan skating.
People are going to expect what it was back in D1, and it's not going to be that, and then they're going to
freak out.
Twitter's going to light up. Yeah, or the forums.
Yeah, and Reddit.
Mm-hmm.
Mobility stat has had its range expanded and been completely retuned as well. In short, everyone gets faster, and the high end is higher. So that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Movement speeds up. The player's ground speed cap has been increased, allowing for faster total movement speed regardless of how you may get there. So again, that sounds like jumps, running, everything will get you to a faster speed. Here's a couple good ones. Arc Strider, Sentinel, and Striker all move faster and at the same speed as one another while in their supers. Because that's
balance,
one thing.
I guess.
Well, not even for balance. I think if you remember back when everything came out, Striker in his super kind of has this like really fast movement to him compared to regularly.
Oh yeah.
And the Arc Strider just runs exactly like a regular runner.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Right. So now they're all
just
getting
kind of
faster.
flopped with Arc Strider.
Yeah. So on top of that, Arc Strider as a whole is performing well in PvP, but mostly due to its neutral game perks. We've made the following changes in an effort to get the super to be a more competitive option. Faster attack animations, faster dodge animations, increased range of all attacks.
That sounds good.
So far, so good, it sounds like.
So he's going to run faster, attack faster, dodge faster, and have more range. I'm okay.
Could be
with
a
that.
super after all.
I would actually be okay with them, not only because they never make big changes, they're like so careful. I would be okay with them going, maybe they did all of these and it's too strong, because that is a super fun super to use if it's working. Like, it's cool as shit. I feel like the Karate Kid or something. Ralph Macchio, though, not Jaden Smith.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, definitely not him.
Supers recharge faster for everyone. Sounds like
That
across
seems
the
good.
board. That's cool.
Okay.
We've buffed several weapon archetypes, including but not limited to hand cannons, pulse rifles, sniper rifles, and shotguns.
So buffed shotguns, huh? Were shotguns in a weird place?
It's one person has power ammo. I don't know. That's great, but I think the reason they're not utilized is for other reasons. Although this is the PvE side too as well, right? Where like rocket launcher is the only option. So like if shotguns and snipers are better in PvE, maybe I'll use one. So
also a few specific perks as well getting buffed. Doesn't say what they are. A key goal here is to make shotgun, snipers, and fusion rifles more prevalent in the game. Cool.
Okay.
We've been working side by side with our friends on PvP to increase the pace of PvP combat and the frequency of power play. Here's a sneak peek. Player respawn times for all quick play modes have been decreased. Power ammo respawn times for all quick play modes have been reduced by around 30%. Power ammo respawn timers in survival have been reduced 40%, which I think will help speed that up because that's something we complain about being slow, right?
Yeah.
Power ammo respawn timers in Countdown have been reduced 25%, which I also think is good because since you are forced to an objective, you don't want the other team to get heavy all the time, and then you take an objective and they just come kill you. That would be dumb. And I am happy with the fact that they kind of separated it per mode instead of blanket changes like that, because like I said, it's going to affect something like survival way different than it's going to affect Countdown. Right.
That was the problem back before, was doing nerfs or buffs like all across the board instead of doing them separately, and then something breaks.
Yeah.
So they're already taking that into account, it seems. So
yeah, and I want to come in with the fact that, a lot of times when we were in Destiny 1, because we've been kind of going back and forth and kind of the comparison, and Hove mentioned the rose-colored glasses, like a lot of why Destiny kind of 2 launched in this competitive standardized mode is because a lot of these things that are coming back people didn't think would make for a competitive game, right? So the fact that they can separate these things does led me to believe that maybe we can have a very neutral competitive setting in ranked, but have this really fun, be a hero, be a montage person, and everything else other places. Because if they're bringing all these things back, and you could easily see people talk out of both sides of their mouth, oh, this is really fun, and now they're doing all these sandbox changes, and on the other side being like, oh, well, it doesn't really make for, a very neutral playing field in a competitive game setting, even though we're still not there yet. So hopefully if they can separate this stuff, that there is a difference, because I'm sure the minute they bring all this back, it's going to be those people that wanted a competitive game that'll just bitch and moan the hardest, and they'll be right back, not right back where they were, but if they can separate it, I think they can get ahead of that problem.
God, you're smart.
Well put.
Yeah, always. He's always puts
that was good.
Ammo counts have been adjusted in relation to these timers and in relation to weapon type. Now, you think that would mean less ammo per brick?
Right? I actually think less. Yeah, when I read that, I thought less.
Yeah. Enemy players now drop their power ammo on death.
Interesting.
There's Wenny again. The dropped brick is available to anyone until picked up or 30 seconds have passed. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
And here's one that was interesting. Finally, the shoulder charge changes that went in a couple of months ago have been fully reverted. Shoulder charge's movement utility was perceived as more valuable than its damage utility, which made it feel bad to actually hit someone with shoulder charge. Feels bad, man. The movement was effectively a free, they have in quotes, dodge. The goal of the untargeted distance nerf was to discourage using the ability as a movement mode by making it only effective when using it against enemies. In retrospect, we think this change was a mistake. We've heard you all say the same. Yeah, so that's cool.
I didn't even know they changed something about shoulder charge, honestly.
They shortened, it was a few months ago, it was only when you weren't targeting something, when you shoulder charge, the distance the shoulder charge was reduced pretty noticeably, because they didn't want you to use it for mobility. They wanted you to use it
to hit people.
Just to hit people.
So it was practically they made it useless because there was no point in hitting anyone with it.
Yeah, that is one thing I definitely, not to get sidetracked, but shoulder charge needs changed.
I feel like they double nerfed it so much. Like before, you can get shoulder charge up really quickly, and it's always a one-hit kill, right?
Yeah.
Those are pretty ridiculous. Now they took it away to where you can only have shoulder charge when you have your melee ability up, right? And it's not even one-hit kill. Both of those put together, it's kind of like, wow, that's not necessary, in my opinion.
Exactly.
Just make it to where it's a one-hit kill. Revert it back to D1 damage, but just make it to where you have to have your melee, charge ability up. Yeah. So I feel like that's perfectly. I don't know. Is it me? You guys think so too?
No, I 100%. I've said that before. Like, they should have either A, left it as a one-hit kill when you have a fully charged melee, or B, nerf the damage to what it is now, but let you do it all the time. One or the other. Mm-hmm. Because as it stands now, if you go running into something and you go up to shoulder charge someone, unless they happen to be in an engagement and you timed that engagement perfectly, you're just going to run up, shoulder charge them, and they're just going to kill you. It's dumb.
Literally.
Yeah.
And this was coming out of D1, year 3 D1 trials where I was that guy.
Yes, you are. I used to watch... Believe it or not, folks, Mana used to make highlight videos, and my favorite ones are when he would just shoulder charge the entire team in elimination.
I would just run around with the universal remote, and I was that guy. It's just at that point in the game, they were not able to kill me quick enough, and it was I abused every bit of it.
Yeah, I'm with you. One final note that will be important to all the snipers out there. Many of you have rightfully complained. This is good news and bad news. Many of you have rightfully complained that snipers flinch too hard when you're taking hits, especially as they are now power weapons. We have dug into this and found that somewhere along the way towards shipping D2, we acquired a bug that is preventing us from being able to successfully tune this to the values that we would all like. While the current batch of changes we are playtesting go a long way to bringing snipers back to where they should be, this bug will still prevent them from feeling perfect. The bug, which we are actively working on fixing, requires some deep changes to the art of each of the individual snipers in the game. That will take us a while to stomp out. We'll get it fixed and pushed to you as soon as we possibly can.
Require some deep changes to the art of each individual snipers in the game for the bug. That's what is the what? Like that's strange to me.
I mean, it could be just something as I don't want to say simple, but like, I don't know, maybe the way the flinch looks, it messes up all the textures, and you know what I mean? Like, who knows?
Yes,
like,
maybe. Yeah.
But yeah, so they just say that, as these changes continue to solidify, we'll have more to say.
Big snipers.
The next items on their agenda after these changes include the mod system rework, which we plan to use to buff ability cooldowns, and the exotic balance pass. So that's why those two were put off, because it's the same team that does Sandbox. So that's fair. And we're continuing to evaluate Destiny 2's weapon slot system and how the different types of weapons in Destiny fit into the game, how they're being played, and what we can do to improve that experience. Expect to hear more from us about that in a future update.
Overall, I think it's pretty solid. I I mean, and just trying to stay positive still, but a lot of stuff, well, we've been positive, but trying to move a lot of stuff back to Destiny 1. And I know we've talked about them working on the game at different times, and this team's doing 2, while this team's trying to fix 1, and some of the things that were fixed late in 1 and everything else. But I mean, I guess it's just kind of you've been seeing it all over social media. Oh, so we're just moving this back to the way things were in Destiny 1 in a lot of instances. I mean, when you think about like weapon slot realignments, to me, that screams like, fixing snipers. I don't think, to me, it's the flinch. To me, it's like only one person gets to use it, maybe 1 time a game, 2 times a game.
The flinch is bad, though.
It's bad, but
yeah, but I think it's a combination of just both. Not only like some of the snipers have high flinch, but then again, you only have that one chance, and then if you whiff it, then there goes your chance, possibly the entire game, because your teammates might get it, enemies might come in and jack it. So.
And a couple things will fix that. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with all the changes. I feel like, and I've noticed this. I do want to point out that I feel like a lot of times when they announce changes like this, for the most part, we are, for the most part, overwhelmingly positive at first blush. I do want to point out, though, that there's been multiple things that they've changed that at first I was like, oh, that's great. But then the more you talk about it, the more you think about it, I'm not saying everything on here is going to be perfect. They all sound good right now. We just read this a few hours ago. I definitely think we need some more time to digest it, but I think for the most part, it sounds like a really good move in the right direction.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And one thing I'm going to say again, I said this earlier in the 6v6, the map size, now that they're aiming to increase animations, movements, and all that with the current 4v4 map sizes, where a lot of the maps, some of them are a decent size, but some of them are actually pretty small, like the PS4 beta map. I forget what that's called. It's kind of small.
That was the one on Nessus. I forget, like Hope mentioned the PC one. The Nessus one is the PS4 beta map.
Yeah, I know which one you're. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's kind of compact.
It's really small,
and with higher mobilities and all that,
yeah.
I don't know. And then if you get that as a 6v6 Iron Banner map too, if that happens, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to go back to the. Sometimes in D1, I felt as though 6v6 was too convoluted and just like there's a lot of abilities. There's too many people running around. Some of those maps I feel like were meant more for 4v4. And now that we have 4v4 and the maps kind of fit that, now they're thinking about increasing it to 6v6 for at least Iron Banner. I'm just like, unless they're coming out with a batch of decent amount of like new maps that maybe revolve around that new size. I don't know. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying like I'm scared, that something's going to mess up. I'm just saying it might be a factor and frustration for the future of the Crucible, But as of right now, everything does seem like a good direction. It does sound good, but it's just a little something that I'm wary of, maybe.
I do think, I definitely agree with you. For the simple fact that, common sense, these maps were designed for 8 people. Now we're going to be putting 12 on them. And they've said from the beginning, when we all thought it was a great idea, we designed everything in this game to be 4v4 PvP, from the maps to the weapons, to the movement speed, to everything. And now they're going to put 6v6 on those same places. So that is a little bit concerning. My hope is that with a lot of these changes, once some of the weapon changes go into play, and the movement abilities being buffed. So you think one of the problems, even though this is almost counterintuitive, it is just natural. The big reason that team shots become such a thing is because it takes so long to kill people yourself, right? Because if you think about it, if we all played D1 the same way and ran around like that, team shots would be even worse than they are now.
Yeah.
But just naturally, you didn't do that because you didn't need to. You could go out and do your own thing. So if they do achieve their goal of having more hero moments, letting you be faster and more powerful, my hope is that people don't go, oh, well, now we can team shot them even faster. My hope is people go back to, let's go have fun, let's go run out, let's get a sniper, let's get a shotgun, let's go do this stuff. I can move in and out of things faster. I can kill someone faster.
I have something powerful. I can make a sick flank, get a cool clip off instead of having the fear of getting something powerful, go on I hope a sick flank, and then turn on 4 people and just get shot, like obliterated,
Yeah. Don't increase time to kill by just adding 2 people per team, please.
Basically, we want the game to have a faster time to kill, so we added more team shots. 2 more.
Now we're going to have 6 people in the back of the map or down that hallway.
But even on that, even if that was the only thing that changed, if movement speeds are faster, it lets you get in and out of places a little bit faster too, right? So if you roll around a corner, it's not going to be a huge difference. I'm not saying any of these are game changing on their own, but my hope is that all of these mix together. It's like cooking. You don't want to. You might not want. You don't want to eat. A block of cream cheese and some boiled chicken, but you mix that shit with some ranch and some hot sauce, and you got some buffalo chicken dip, and it's delicious, right?
My goodness.
My analogies are on point. I just want to say that.
I liked it. That was good.
Have you ever picked up a block of cream cheese and eaten it?
No.
No,
can't say I have.
At least sober. I don't believe so.
Do you like cheesecake?
Yes.
Do you like buffalo chicken dip?
Yes.
I rest my case, Your Honor. But no, I do think that, like I said, even if you go around a corner and you see 6 people sitting there, if you're able to just get the fuck out of there real quick, it's a little bit better. So I'm hopeful.
True.
I definitely could see a lot of ways that these things wouldn't work out.
Yeah. And I think that's on. I mean, I think I would sum up my kind of thoughts on these is they have to understand which things are like toe in the water and which things need to be leaps, because there's certain things that you just can't take that same approach. Or some of these things just require like a little bit of attention, and they're not that big to us. So just take a step. Some of these things, and a lot of those are the asterisk things, you have to really make like a leap forward. So as we're saying here, like 6s is great, but if you just throw people on the map as like a toe in the water example, could be terrible. That may need to be a leap. Remaking the emblem aura thing, probably toe in the water. So I'm sure they get that, but I think that's how people are going to judge this, is whether or not they make leaps forward in certain things that we care about and some of these things. But because they haven't always done that, sometimes it's like a leap forward in something that no one cares about, and then like a toe in the water with like the the faction rally or the when it came to the season 2 things, like the new gun is just that gun. So and they probably won't do that again, but that's kind of something that they've been trying to balance out, as long as being with transparent, providing these roadmaps. I think they're still trying to find that balance of what do we really spend X resources on to make a big leap, and what do we spend like, I don't want to say like an intern, but spend somebody to just hurry up and rework this like vault space, something like that. So if they get that right, I think all these things will work together. But as Hove mentioned, it's a combination of things, and sometimes that's not great, because that means you have to have 5 things right, as opposed to 1 thing. So you can't just show up with the cream cheese and hope that that's going to work for
like I said, I totally was with you on that. God, I don't know what happened to me, but I'm going to agree with Wendler again in chat. He was talking about some of the sizes, some of the maps, and it kind of made a good point. And I kind of expounded on it in my own mind. But so think of it like this: you got whatever the New Shores of Time is called, right? That was already a map that we played 6s on. That would be okay.
But it's smaller by nature, though, right? Just in the new version.
Is it?
I think Distant Shores is not. They did say it's like scaled down. It's not as big as Shores.
I think they did say they made changes, but it's not like I don't think
it's bigger.
Really it's still big. It's still, I think, would comfortably fit 12 people running around still.
Well, okay, hear me out. And this is where a couple of these changes could be good. Okay, so that one I think would be okay for 6s, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Mercury map I think would be all right for 6s. Altar of Flame or whatever.
The one where like B's in that like middle thing in the I can't.
Was that one of the newest ones?
Yeah. No, it was one of the first Trials maps.
I can't.
It looks like Burning Shrine.
I think that one's good too.
B's like in like a little half circle.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, that's actually deceptively big.
Yeah.
Now that I think of it.
I think Vostok could be okay.
Yeah, that one's almost too big for 4, so I think that one would be okay, in my opinion. That one's pretty big.
And there was another one he said. The Leviathan map, I don't really care for it, but it's decent sized.
It's like one huge rectangle, or just like a large.
Because actually,
you know what I'm saying?
Like, right now, I feel like that map, not because it's necessarily so big, but just by the design, I feel like that one half of it doesn't really get used. Like those kind of tunnels.
The outside?
Yeah,
the tunnel side.
Yeah, like the tunnel side. So I'm going to just stop there and say that's 4 maps, right? That we are okay with for 6s. Now, if you're just talking Iron Banner 6s, or, whatever, if it's a 6s playlist, and this whole reduction of repeating maps works, if you did get a different map every time, I think 4 would be enough for one game mode.
And if you came with one map to
Yeah.
celebrate that, yeah.
Yeah, like
I would agree.
If maps from here on out, if they maybe threw in a 6v6 size map every time. If you had 4 or 5 to start and this map repetition reduction does work, I'd be okay with rotating through 4 if I'm not playing, 1-1-1-1-1, 2-2-1-1, 3-3-3-3. You know what I mean? Like
True.
So
yeah.
Again, if those all go together, and he
No,
was saying the brand new map from Curse of Osiris. Which one is that one? I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Yeah, neither can I.
Okay, well if that one's big enough too, we'll say 5.
Yeah, I think that's sufficient. I mean, right off the cuff though too, I think some of those maps, like when I think the Emperor's Palette, like the Callous one, and even Volstock, some of those have like really big lanes though. So even though that makes them big, I don't know if that's like usable space. Like you'd still be running through like what would be a lane. I mean, maybe that's thinking too much into it because they are big enough. So, but I would agree with Hofting. If the map repetition like really worked and they reduced that, if you went through 4 or 5 maps, I don't think it would matter. It'd be fun.
Yeah.
Plus, I think at least the first time people would just be like, "Hey, 6s again," and then if they came with a 2 or 3 maps the next time, then it would, it could solve that problem post excitement. Like,
yeah. And again, like we said though, does 6v6 with the weapon changes, with the movement changes, with the Iron Banner change, like does all this stuff mesh together? That's the big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Every one of these sounds like a good thing on the surface, but how well do they all work together?
But together, is it going to be fun?
Is it going to be buffalo? Is it going to be buffalo chicken dip or melted cream cheese?
I mean, if there's enough red hot in it, it's probably okay, I guess, like at a certain point.
I mean, just saying.
I really want buffalo chicken now.
I'm hungry. Yeah, those analogies got me kind of hungry, not going to lie.
You're welcome. So anyway, I do just want to say that, as they've gotten more and more, Bungie, has kind of started to open up more. We did hit a point probably about a month ago now where, I remember I said at least for sure, it feels like whether it's because they decided, oh, you know what, it's time to be more forthcoming, or if it was like the oh shit, like they finally got to the point where they're like, oh shit, if we don't do this game dies, right? Like they didn't have a choice. Either way, it doesn't matter because at least for the time being and up through at least the next 5 months, it hasn't just been, well, this is our roadmap. There, we gave you a roadmap, and then they don't say anything. They've been, Josh Hamrick has continued to talk about all the sandbox changes with people on Twitter. Excuse me. Chris Barrett has killed it on Twitter. I mean, everyone who asks him questions that are legitimate questions has gotten responses, and he's kind of let some things out there. Hey, well, what do you think about this? Have you guys talked about it? Yeah, we have. We're looking at it. We are thinking about doing that thing you're talking about, whatever it may be. And now some of this stuff, I think the biggest thing that really shows it is the fact that they're now telling us things and telling us, look, this might not happen, but this is what we want to do. We've been asking specifically for that for 3 years, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've been asking for this type of communication for a while, so
right. It's not just their big problem. I think was they didn't want to give us anything until it was 100% in stone and going to happen. And with the way video games are made and things change, that wasn't often enough. So
right. And
now,
to that point, from Destiny 1, I don't mean to cut you off, but like from that beginning point, we've had situations where like game companies between Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 have established that and been more transparent. So when we're playing other games, that becomes your expectation level, regardless of the fact that it's not Destiny. So we are now being very used to, we'll fix this, we'll do this, we're trying to do these things. And when you go back to a company like, yeah, we're not going to do that, it's harder to take, so
especially, just look at Fortnite and what they're doing. They're taking off. They're not only including a lot, but they're also communicating a lot too. And a lot of people, since a lot of the Destiny community actually jumped ship over to Fortnite, a lot of the PvP side, they are now comparing the communications of 2 different companies. Now they're looking at like
even
Epic and then Bungie.
That's not even close to being fair.
No,
I would agree with that.
Communication there, I do it too sometimes.
Right,
I find myself. But it's easy when you view something you're compassionate about, and then you look at something. A different company and what they're doing, you're just like, Bungie, what is this?
Yeah.
And then if you think down deeper, it's like Fortnite has less to deal with.
Yeah.
It's yada yada yada, and so
and that's not even defending Bungie, because they royally screwed up communication for a long time, and they're just now finally starting to get it right, we think.
Oh yeah.
But it is a lot different to be able to say, oh, you know what, shotgun damage isn't working, so we're gonna change it, because literally it's me and you, and everyone's the same, so it's one shotgun versus one set of facts and scenarios and everything. Whereas in Destiny, oh well,
there's a bajillion different weapons.
Guardians with this armor, this armor, this armor, this super, this class, this subclass, enemies. Do you know what I mean? There's so much more going on. But communication wise, it would still be really nice to hear, you know what, you're right. We do also agree with you that this isn't working. Bear with us.
Yep.
We're trying to fix it.
These are our plans, yeah.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And it, how you just summed it up right there, Hove. I mean, that could have maybe stemmed the tides a little bit more. You know what I mean? That could have just kind of
saying something.
Bought a little bit more goodwill for a little bit. Yeah.
So,
guys, we're aware. That's all we needed there.
I mean, we're aware, and these are our thoughts for fixing it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. They may not happen, but this is what we're trying right now. And they finally started to do that. I definitely think it could go further. I would have liked to hear a little bit more about some of the sandbox changes, but they did say they're going to keep coming with them. So that's good. Maybe they still want to get something at least on paper, or in a computer coded, instead of just maybe this will work. So
right.
I'm okay with it. It is a step in the right direction, and I'll be honest. I haven't played all that much Destiny 2 either, but I don't ever want to say that I've like completely quit or given up. It's just not drawing me back in right now, and I do think a lot of these will. So I hope a lot of people, if you already have the DLCs and whatever, I get it if you didn't and you're not going to pay for anything that you've already quit. But if you already have the game, like you're not hurting Bungie by saying I'm not coming back no matter what they do. Do you know what I mean? You're just if you already have the game, when these changes go live, see if they fix what you didn't like. What's it gonna what's it hurt? If it doesn't, then you don't play it anymore. You can really quit. But if they make these big changes and you don't have to pay for it, you already have the game, give it a shot. I don't know. That's my thought.
Doesn't hurt.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, I've been a shitty podcast Twitter boss, being out of the country and all. I haven't posted any Twitter questions. So I kind of tried to, mostly it was just Wendler, but I was talking to chat a little bit. We're not gonna have any community questions this week, but we have been going pretty long. I think the TWAB had a lot to talk about. I think we've gotten through a lot of stuff. Is there anything else you guys want to comment on, or on the TWAB or the game or anything?
Hi,
Mana.
That's my comment.
I was just gonna say, I was very proud of you guys. You really stepped it up, and then I asked for opinions, and Mana says, "Hi."
I got none. Everything sounds good. A little, just in case, like you said, the ingredients. I'm a little not super pumped, but it sounded good so far, Bungie. You guys are doing things, and I dig it so far. I might actually play the game again and be a real podcast host.
All right, guys. So that is going to be it, I think, for REZOcast episode 71. Thanks, everyone, for coming to hang out in chat, or if you're listening at home. You can check us out on Twitter at REZOcast. And we're also on YouTube, Google Play, iTunes. We love you guys. Really helps us out if you get through iTunes' super cluttered review system. Leave us a review. Say something about Triton. Make fun of him. Do something funny. Talk to us on Twitter. We'd love to hear from you. I'm Hove. You can find me at Hove76 on Twitter and twitch.tv/Hove76, and not really ever on YouTube. Triton?
Yeah, you can find me on those two places for sure, Twitter and Twitch, all under Triton, please. One word, please, being PLZ. And I am on YouTube, actually. I just looked recently. I think I posted either 1 or 2 videos for 4 or 5 weeks straight. So pretty proud of myself there. Not really Destiny related.
I noticed that.
If you want to check it out, you can check those out. It actually started to get some traction, like I said earlier. Finally got a sub for what I think to be motivated by the Star Wars content. Also lost like quite a few in doing that as well. But hey, like I said,
I noticed all your YouTube videos, and like part of me at first I was like really proud and like happy for you, and then I realized that you're making all these fucking YouTube videos, but you don't have time to like hang out or like talk about the podcast with us anymore. But anyway,
what are you talking about? I like helped host the podcast last week. I'm actually playing the game, for goodness sakes. I mean, come on. I mean, like, what what else do you want?
God, your sacrifices are
I am sacrificing
inspiring.
a lot.
They're
playing a game that I'm on a podcast for. I'm sacrificing quite a bit, I'll be honest.
He's taking back the mantle of Alpha Asian on this podcast.
Also, wait, I tried to post a Destiny video in there somewhere, and I think I got like less. It was one of the ones that I've only got like less than 10 views, and maybe a comment says like, "Please stop." There was something. So, like, I mean, I don't know what else to do.
Post another one.
Post another one. It's like, you were just reminding me to unsub. Okay, what about you, Manos?
That person came for the Star Wars content, and then you started posting Destiny again. They're like, bruh,
I'm out.
I just got here. You can find me on Twitch, mainly Twitch, Twitter, one day YouTube. I'm still trying to work on that at the Manigator. Like, I'm still trying to come up with highlights and stuff. I messed up my first batch of highlights because the whole I tried the GeForce experience thing where it's like the replay, but it wasn't picking up my audio or the game audio. It was just the clip. So I'm just like, there goes most of my clips. And then I started playing a lot of single player games, so I have no clips for the past couple weeks. But I am trying to get back on YouTube. There's just no clips.
It's even worse. You were like a real YouTuber for a while. Me and Triton like pretend,
I tried hard.
So like it's fine that we don't follow through.
Yeah, like
it's nice to be in that mode.
A year ago, I was trying hard to catch up to the big boys, and I was making videos on like weapons and stuff. I was getting good feedback, and then I just kind of lost motivation and just strictly went to Twitch. I don't know. I've been actually getting a lot of people commenting on my just videos here and there that oh man, I miss these, or like I miss trials. I'm just like, guys, you're making me feel bad.
Oh,
okay, I'm sorry.
That's one thing we mentioned this, but sometime before all these changes take place, we do need to grab Lego and get back and however many other people, and go back and play the No Land Fusion private matches on D1, because that was fun shit.
Down.
At least your comments aren't "please stop."
Are we still talking about YouTube videos or your sex life?
No, that was YouTube videos.
Oh, okay.
YouTube videos. It's sad though. Sometimes like I have the notifications on YouTube just pop up on my screen. It's just like, I miss these videos. I'm just like, oh, I'm sorry, person. Like, I tried.
I was actually happy because that guy that wrote "please stop" probably watched the video, so he was probably one of the 7 that I had. So
he supported you.
I was at least a little happy. He's like, well, you did watch it.
Took time off to comment too,
Yeah.
Did you favorite his comment?
Just pinned it. He pinned it to the top. All right, guys, that's really going to be it. So yeah, we'll see you next week, and until then, GG.
GG's.
GG's.